Happy Monday to you all. Happy Moon Day. Happy Manifestation Monday, if you will. Hopefully, what you're manifesting is the things that you desire. Hopefully, everybody is doing them in the most bona fide way that they know how. So I was trying to get myself together doing this video because certain situations calls for certain energies and certain a certain presence, if you will. So I'm just so annoyed. I'm so annoyed and I'm offended by a lot of the ignorance that is being shared online, the energy of ignorance, the energy of those who are very inconsiderate. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. It really blows me that people can get online and be so bold and then be so inconsiderate and be so disrespectful and be so insensitive because maybe they are desensitized and they probably they don't know what common sense is, common courtesy is, right? They don't have a pause button, they don't have a filter, or they just blatantly are so nasty and so empty within their spirit that they can't empathize, they can't sympathize, or they can't have compassion for people when they are grieving and when they are going through a time of darkness, of grief, or when they're going through challenging times. So I've actually come across some some videos about the young brother Nolan Wells. And there's a lot of things that I'm not going to share in this upload because it's so disgusting and it's so disrespectful and it's so mind-blowing, unnerving that it's so offensive that I refuse to have it on my platform or on my channel, if you will. Shout out to you all the people that come across this upload. I just want to say much gratitude to the people who are genuinely tapped in with me. The family of Nolan Wells is in my prayers. My community of friends, the people, whether it's my associates, business associates, whether it's my friends or the people in the community who are my brothers and sisters who I collaborate with, who I do community work with, who I work with closely, or those relationships that I have built and the relationships that I'm continuing to build. It makes a difference, and people know that, as far as Libra go, relationships are everything. So, my community putting it in the simplest way, my community is in my prayers. All of us, our children, our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, everything, strength of community, genuine connections, and all righteousness within that, right? Like I said, I'm praying for the family of Nolan Wells. I'm also praying for, the community, because I know that this country is going through a lot of different things. And on a spiritual level, on a scientific or a metaphysical level, I also understand that all of that is very much associated. When we talk about, on a astrological level, like I said, if people want to incorporate science into the mix, astrology, the different things that are happening in our world, right? And when that's talking about on a global level, but then as it relates to how things directly affect us, this administration, and how in the previous time, there was a lot of antagonistic things that was happening, and people need something to gravitate towards and something that looks powerful to them so that they can be influenced, because they don't have their own mind and they don't make their own decisions based off of their own, faculties, strong mental faculties, and then also their intuition. I wanted to make this video because I saw many, now don't get me wrong, I saw many of videos, people coming online, of course, and people stating their opinions about Nolan Wells. But the part that really blows me, and the part that really has my mind boggled, because when I don't understand something, I don't get it if I don't resonate with it. But if it's also not righteous and if it's not godly, right? Because there's one thing for people to make mistakes in our humanness, but then it's also another thing for people to do things on purpose, right? They know what they're doing. A lot of times you can think about something before you do it or before you say it. And if a person have a strong mental, they have strong mental capacities, or, they have a strong mind, a lot of times, or even with self-awareness, you will think a thought and then you will rehearse that thought in your head, what you're going to say, and then you'll say it, right? It's kind of like, when we're growing up, they say, think before you speak, think before you say something, right? Some people are moving on autopilot, but then they don't have, they're very empty vessels. They may have the money, they may look good, they may sound good, they may even sound intelligent, but deep inside, it's like there's nothing in there, right? It's like you knock on the door, the light's on, but nobody's home, right? I said this in a previous upload some time ago. I don't know how long ago that was. It's almost creepy, right? So Charleston White I just want to say for the record that I personally believe, it is my personal belief that Charleston White is a piece of shit, that he is trash, and that he should totally be canceled. When people come on their platforms, or when people record and things, it is supposed to be everybody's responsibility to be careful with the things that they share and how they share it, to include energy. Now, me as an adult woman, it is also mindful for me to be mindful of the things that I share as well. We all should be held accountable. And that is to include sometimes how I may share my message and the energy that I share it in, because I'm a very self-aware person. So some may say, well, when I share certain messages and when my energy is strong, and when some may take it as me being aggressive, is that, am I doing that? Am I aware of what I am doing? I'm very much aware of what I am doing. And sometimes, as I said, ever since I made the previous message that was associated with the brother Nolan Wells, my message, everything after that was talking about my energy. I even shared some text from the sacred text or from the Bible, because some people will say that maybe my message was too strong, maybe my energy was too strong, maybe I was too passionate, maybe I was angry. And I don't want to go too far off of why, I did that. I'm sure that there's some people who absolutely get it. And there's some people like, you don't even have to explain yourself. We totally understand why you had that same energy. We are totally tapped in. We totally get it. For some people that don't understand, I guess that's a whole nother video. Maybe I can make a video on why there are certain energies that are required for certain things. And then maybe I have to present, other facts and things about American history, or American history as it relates to African American or indigenous peoples of this beautiful country that we live in, right? So, as far as Charleston White go, he's very loose at the tongue, and he's very disrespectful, extremely disrespectful. He says some of the most despicable things as it relates to the case of the brother Nolan Wells, who was laid to rest today. I'm I pray for peace and healing and comfort for his mother and his father and their family, because when I said in the video that I shared a day on a particular day when my energy was very, very heavy, but it was very I was being very assertive is what I would call it, very, very passionate. You know, I was saying that I was praying for his family. Back to Charleston White. It's amazing how the, you know, how the mind works and your thoughts can get scattered so quickly. Charleston White said some very despicable things. So he went on to say that, you know, what was a high possibility that he had experienced, the brother Nolan Wells. I'm not going to say everything that he said, because he said some things that I just don't want to repeat. But he was saying that, you know, what the young dudes who was with him, what they would normally do was something that was the norm, to go out, have fun, and that they were probably indulging in substances. And then he blatantly made an accusation that the brother Nolan was probably engaging in homosexual acts with these other guys that he was with. Now, let me pump the brakes real quick. I did not want to say that. I didn't even want to repeat that, because, mind you, this young brother was just laid to rest today. God rest his soul and God bless his family. But what I do want to say is, it's very disgusting for people to even come out of their face and to say such despicable things about someone who has transitioned and who's now a descendant, right? This brother is 18 years old, and quite frankly, as a mother and as a woman who loves deeply, who loves good people in general, just on a base level, and then have a deep love for young people and children. I wouldn't give a damn if Nolan was, I quite frankly do not care what his sexual orientation was, right? I don't care about that. What I would more so be concerned about is the content of his character. Is he you know, the obvious things that people with, you know, strong minds and people who actually have a soul, who actually can feel for other people, can feel for families when they're grieving, and, you know, even when you're not there, but just can put yourself in the shoes and in place of the mother and of the father, right? And then on top of that, these are people that look like us. So it totally blows me. I don't understand. I absolutely don't understand. Charleston White is a piece of shit. He tried to make it seem like that Nolan went out on the water with these other guys, his friends, and who were not black, went on the water, and then they engaged in certain you know, behaviors. And then he went on to continue to say that, you know, they put him in the water, and then he said something about the salt water, and just got real specific in details, and just real questionable in the way that he was thinking. Sometimes when people suggest certain things, you can't help but wonder what is going on in their mind. Like, seriously, like, are you that deranged and that messed up in your mind that that's all you could come up with as far as your imagination of what you think may have happened to this young brother? Oh, you want to make him look bad in his transition, which is absolutely disgusting, because, like I said, not only is he transitioned and no longer with us, but he's 18 years old, and he has a mother, he has a father that loves him dearly, and then he has a whole friend group, and he has a family. So, you know, when people come out of their face disgustingly online and they're very disrespectful, I can't help but wonder, where are their family? Who raised these people? When people do certain things, I always think in the back of my mind, that thought always comes to my mind: who raised you? Who raised you, or who didn't raise you? That's all that you could come up with. So you are going to accuse the young man of being gay, and even if he was, like I said, I wouldn't give a that's like far from my concern, right? You know, if it's something to be looked at as it relates to you know, the progression of the investigation, or something that can be of value to the investigation, okay, fine. But then even you know, I don't think that a lot of us were thinking that he went on. It was his it was his plan, or their plan, to go on a boat and to engage in certain acts or whatever. And like I said, quite frankly, I just, that's not something that I don't think we should be focused on. People are trying to incriminate a young man who is no longer with us. They will say things like, well, maybe they were indulging in substances. Maybe they were in, now Charleston White with his trash, filthy mind, gonna say something accusing him of engaging in homosexual acts. This is crazy. And if it was my son, I would be livid. I would be completely livid. And then I feel such a way for Nolan's mom, because she's receiving so much negative energy. And then it just makes you wonder, like, it makes you question, you know, humanity. And a lot of us have done a lot of work on ourselves to get to a certain point and to get over certain humps and hurdles, so that we will have faith in humanity again. Because we see how when certain people are in positions of power, and when they are the leaders of the free world, how their mindset, the things that they say, and their irresponsibility, how that influences other people that don't have strong minds, and especially people who already were raised in a way to be racist. They exacerbate that, and then they come out of their hiding places, out of their closets and out of the woods, and then they start to show their true colors. Now, is it just me, or is it anyone else who absolutely have noticed that I don't personally believe in coincidences, but I think that, you know, it's a good question to ask. Is there anyone else who has noticed that the media and all these things that are happening is all happening around the same time? Is spirit trying to tell us something, or is the enemy even trying to tell us something? There was the young man, the brother who got convicted on taking the life of a young man who was not black. And then now they're showing stories in the media and on social media of young brothers who are transitioning or dying. One brother who jumped off the bridge, and allegedly the guys who were with him, his friends, they actually got arrested on charges of drowning or something that is relative to that. Then the story about the brother who was found hanging, right? And then not just the brother, but other people who have been found hanging. Then the Nolan Wells situation, right? So when there is you know, certain things and certain patterns and things, I'm the type of individual, I'm the type of woman that's gonna say, you know, is there something that we're missing? It seems as though there's a pattern here, but then in a lot of these situations, it's like, it's very fishy. Charleston White said that, you know, a lot of black people don't come up missing often. That is a lie. I remember one year, or in a short span of time, there was like 70,000 young black girls who came up missing. You know, and then that's not to mention what happens over in Africa, but in our country alone, a lot of our kids come up missing, if not the majority of them. So Charleston White is Charleston White is a clown to me. And he is one of those people who is not to be taken seriously. It's kind of like when I did that follow-up video when I was talking about Trick Daddy, and I said that, you know, I read in a book that, you know, there's some people who can't be taken seriously because they're always inebriated. They're always under the influence, so they should be treated and they should be handled like children. Right? So it's the same thing with Charleston White. But the difference between Trick Daddy and Charleston White is Charleston White has a large following Charleston White has a large following, but he also tries to present himself as a motivational speaker and a philanthropist and someone who likes to speak seriously, to where he's someone who has a platform where people are influenced by him, or he speaks in a way where he is an expert, he has expertise in the area of what he's talking about. So he speaks in a way where he feels as though he should be respected, or people should respect the things that he say. Now, an individual like Charleston White is very dangerous to our community, and I will tell you why. On one hand, it's like the situation with Carmelo Anthony. Initially, he was, he was all team Carmelo Anthony, and then he turned around and he started speaking bad on him and started talking, just reckless, and he totally turned against him, right? So he's worse. A Charleston White individual that looks like us is more dangerous to our community than someone who doesn't look like us, but blatantly lets us know that they are our opposition or that they are our adversary. Right? Because a Charleston White is unstable in his mind. He's unstable in his ways. He's unstable in his speech. So he's very unpredictable. And the unpredictable part is not so much what I'm trying to get people to look at. It's more so the mix of the messages. It's very dangerous. So one minute you're acting like you're for the people, and then the next minute you're talking bad about the youth and talking bad about the children, and then he will talk bad about the parents. He is a clown. He's very dangerous in the way that he influences, right? Because confusion, right? Confusion breeds more confusion and then distortions. So in the face of the community, and you seem one way, and then behind closed doors, you actually working with the enemy. That is a liability, right? So I just want to paint a small picture of a clown called Charleston White, right? A clown and someone who is completely basura, trash in English. So this individual, I can't help but wonder if he has like a brain injury, right? And that's just only me. That's only the empath part of me wondering, because sometimes you just wonder and you want to make an excuse for people's ignorance and their clown ways and their very irresponsible ways, right? So this funny looking individual who's a clown named Charleston White, he actually experienced challenges in his childhood, which included an accident that led to the loss of his right eye. So I'm assuming that Charleston White with his clown ass has a false right eye. So is that why his energy is so distorted and he's so confused in his ways and so chaotic? Is it because he's blind? Right? Is it because he has half vision? If he has half vision, then is it safe to say that maybe he has half of a brain? Interesting. Also, this clown at the age of 14, he was involved in a robbery that resulted in a murder charge. And he actually spent time in juvenile detention. So this guy is supposed to be a so-called leader in the Black community. He's supposed to be a motivational speaker. I have yet to hear anything online that made me say, this is somebody that I want to follow, or this is someone who I want to watch. So the thing about people like Charleston White who are so-called comedians, they're clowns. I'm not saying that all comedians are clowns, because comedy is a gift from God, and we need good expressions of comedy and good humor and good things, very creative and crafty things to make us laugh, especially in times like this, in times like for Nolan Wells's mother and father and his community and his family, where they are grieving and they haven't even had time to fully process the reality of what they're going to have to deal with. They're still working through that, right? Sometimes humor and comedy, it helps to heal, but he couldn't even be creative enough to give appropriate humor. And this wasn't even something, if you guys go look it up, you'll see in the video, it wasn't even something that was intended to be humorous. It was him really just talking out the side of his neck. And then, like I said, people who come out of their mouth real, sideways and very disrespectful and mindless, I can't help but wonder, like, are they inebriated? Are they on a substance? Or what is your drug of choice? Are you smoking crack? He might be, his drug of choice might be crack cocaine, maybe even meth. Meth is on the rise. So he does, comedy, but he also does insult comedy. And, I personally believe that because he is so unstable and because he's such a liability to the community, I think that he should be canceled. I think that we should either, stop giving him attention, because a lot of times when there is an issue, it's kind of like with a kid, right? Or I don't want to use a kid, for example. We could use toddlers, for example. But just say that there is someone who is being annoying, right? If someone is annoying you and you ask them to stop, or you express, how it's making you feel, and they, proceed to continue doing the thing that is annoying you, you can either continue to engage. You can in situations of business, you can continue to patronize, right? You can continue to give your energy and your attention to that doesn't make you feel good, but then that would be an oxymoron, right? That would be insane, because nothing is changing of that. They just continue to do the things that are annoying you. So if you starve that individual of your energy, or of all of the attention and energy, then maybe they will be able to rectify what it is that they're doing, and maybe they'll be able to correct their behavior. Because some people, it's unfortunate to say that at 49 years of age, that they don't already know and have the awareness. He's not aware of what he is doing, or you're just a devil, right? It's one of the two. I can give you the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe you don't have common sense, maybe you're slow, and maybe you don't know what it is that you're doing. Maybe somebody needs to tell you, or maybe you're inebriated, maybe you're under the influence of something, or maybe you're just dumbfounded and you have half a brain because you only have one eye, right? And you just coming out of your your shell of a meat suit, pretending to be of some type of high class, or pretending to be of some type of elite group, or pretending to be of some type of level of intelligence. Everybody that's sound intelligent doesn't necessarily mean that they're smart, intelligent, or that they have real wisdom. There is a difference, and you have to be able to discern that. So Charleston White, like I said, he is trash. He doesn't have common sense. And at 49 years old, shame on you. Because when you want to present yourself as some type of prominent or intelligent individual or leader in our community, there is a lot more things that is required of you. Now, a lot of us have a lot to work on. I will say that. I will be the first to say that. A lot of us have a lot to work on because we're human. But when there is a difference between making mistakes and you saying things out of your mouth and doing things that you know is wrong. At 49 years old, you expected to know right from wrong, and you're way out of pocket, just like Trick Daddy, right? So insult comedy, the people who wants attention, he needs to be canceled. He's being satiated and feeding off of people's attention and just saying some outlandish stuff that doesn't even make sense. This beautiful young brother was laid to rest today. I believe that the world lost him about a couple weeks ago. And he also had, he has his mother and father, looks like us, but he also has a father. It's just like, it's crazy to think that people can come out of their come out of their face and their mouth and be so insensitive and disrespectful, and not even think like, what might his mom think if she sees this? What might his father think? And you don't care? That says a lot about your character. It's a lack of character at 49 years old, right? Okay, so I just wanted to say, Charleston White, he should be, I feel as though myself and some other creators, we feel as though There's a lot of us actually. Charleston White, he should be canceled. He's trash. His word is not bonded. His word is not of value. We should not continue to feed the character and the energy of a Charleston White. I think that he should be put on timeout, or he should just, go in a corner and do some introspection for a while. Speaking of introspection, Charleston White, with his funny looking ass, he looks like a praying mantis to me. And because, I consider myself a very spiritual person and a woman who loves spiritual things, right? A spiritual enthusiast, if you will. He reminds me of the praying mantis, and the spiritual meaning of a praying mantis is, some of the symbology is stillness, mindfulness. So stillness, Charleston White, he really needs to slow down and just like pump the brakes and, maybe shut the hell up, like close his mouth and maybe sit on his hands and do some introspection. I think that would be definitely be a great idea for him. So stillness, mindfulness, right? Mindfulness meditation is very good for healing, and is very good for many different things. Another spiritual meaning of the praying mantis is encouraged to slow down, to listen to your inner wisdom. That's if he has any inner wisdom within that shell of a vessel, right? Because when a person speaks and when they say certain things, they're telling you who they are, right? I'm not impressed. I'm not enthused. I'm not entertained. So it says that, another spiritual meaning of the praying mantis, with his praying mantis looking ass, is to meditate and reflect on one's life choices. How about that? Meditate and reflect on one's life choices. Do Charleston White ever just try to slow down and pump the brakes and think about what he's going to say before he say it? Or when he's done doing interviews and when he's done acting like the damn clown that he is and the very shell of a man and very empty vessel that he is, do he ever stop and just be like, damn, I probably shouldn't have never said that? When we make mistakes, and because we're going to make mistakes, we're human, right? Even in our adult ages, right? We make mistakes. But then if if you pray to God, or you pray to the ancestors, your spirit guides or whatever, you repent, you ask for guidance, right? And then you work on that to try to figure out how you can heal that, and how you can engage in repentance for yourself, meaning changing your behavior and then doing better, right? But does he even have what is the word that I'm looking for? Does he feel bad for the things that he says and the things that he does? Does he feel, the word is totally escaping me. I'm totally drawing a blank. But again, it blows me that people, they don't have the emotional capacity to even think that, everything is not about, comedy. And he wasn't even presenting in a comical way. It was just, he was serious as he's very serious, but it's just like, you don't think about, this young brother has siblings. He has community. He has a mother and a father. It's crazy. Meditate and reflect on one's life choices. Encourage a deeper connection with oneself and one's intuition, right? Just because some people, they try to be nice, and especially in the spiritual community, or some of the people that I communicate with, or the pages that I follow in the spiritual community, people try to make people feel good and say that, everybody have intuition, or everybody have these certain abilities. I don't think so. I don't agree. I don't think that everybody has, certain intuition. But that is one of the spiritual meanings of the praying mantis. Encourage a deeper connection with oneself, one's intuition, and self-awareness. Self-awareness is a big one, but in this time, self-awareness is like, it's very estranged. It's becoming less and less common, right? Especially when we're talking about people who speak out of their mouth because they think that they're the shit, because their ego is overblown, right? Mind you, this is a 49-year-old man who lost his right eye. You would think that if a person loses their right eye, that they will move about the world being as humble as possible, right? But what happens is people get a number, they get a number of followings, and they get a great following, or they get a bag or whatever, and then they forget about the soul, and maybe they lose their soul, because a lot of people are losing and selling their soul along the way. So they lose who they are in their essence and who they truly are as a human being, right? Or they actually lose the good character parts of themselves, or the good reasoning parts of themselves, or the common sense parts of themselves, you know, the high functioning mental capacities, because of the drugs and alcohol, or the overindulgence of everything that they're engaging in, right? Let's talk about it. So, you know, they have an overblown ego. The ego serves for certain purposes. So if you're constantly in your ego and you're not putting the ego in its rightful place, you have an overblown ego, and you are annoying to me, very annoying to me. And you're offensive to a descendant like Nolan Wells, but then you're also highly offensive to the family of Nolan Wells as well, and people in the community such as myself, who is a mother, and also not only a mother of a daughter, but then a mother of godsons and nephews and you know, young men in my family and in my community, right? Charleston White is a despicable human being. Just based off of the things that he shared and the things that he said about a young brother who's no longer with us. How dare you? But some people in our community are trifling, and then they try to pretend like they are a representation of us. The devil is a lie. Another spiritual meaning of the praying mantis, I said self-awareness, you know, that he needs to slow down. The best advice that I can give someone who is dealing with someone who is a pest, right? Charleston White is a pest, just like some of these racist ass people, some of these weirdos, right? He's a pest. Just starve them of your energy. Some people need to be starved of certain attention and energy so that they will go into themselves and figure out what the hell is going on within themselves, especially as a almost 50-year-old man, and you don't have enough self-awareness. And then you have to wonder, like, does he have children, right? Who are these people? Where are their minds? There's so many people. We have to be aware in this time also, with all of the craziness that's going on in the country, with the false representation of leadership that is antagonizing and that is, you know, encouraging people or allowing people to, you know, come out of the woodworks in their very evil ways, right? There is a lot of people who are walking around mindless, like bots. People who are moving on autopilot. And I'm not talking about people autopilot in a way, because some people will say that people that work a 9-to-5 or have a certain routine that do a lot of the same things are either operating on autopilot, or they'll say that they're NPCs. I say that there is levels to this. I think that Charleston White is a despicable creature. I think that he is an NPC, and I think that he is running on autopilot. But I think that his autopilot is being controlled by someone else, and that's one of the most dangerous places to be in, because when you can't come out of that and you can't maintain your own awareness, that's dangerous, and that's a problem, especially when you're able to influence a community of people. Right? So that's, you know, as far as Charleston White, let's just go ahead and cancel the cockeyed, funny looking praying mantis, 49-year-old little boy who wants to sound intelligent and act like he's intelligent. But we have found out as of late on many occasions that Charleston White is not intelligent. He's actually trash, right? And people should tread lightly when it comes to him, because not only is he a danger to the community, his ways, the ways that he move, in which he moves, is very much like a liability. So we have to be careful when we're trying to get information from people, and when we're being influenced by what people say, and then when we're looking for certain facts and answers. In a case of a young man who was missing, and then they still have not told us what happened to him. Charleston White is very much a danger to the community, just as well as everybody else who hasn't told the truth. So that there was, what I wanted to talk about as far as Charleston White. And then there was this funny looking guy who thought that it was funny to make fun of black people, saying that, we did it, as in white people, saying that, they do this all the time. And yeah, they did it. They were the cause of the brother Nolan Wells' demise.
I mean, they done fired this dude. They done got it where as though they start pulling this guy's records. They know his real name, everything. And then he got a nerve to hop online and sound like he want to cry. No, you want to be like Chud the Builder, huh? Yeah, you want to be like Chud the Builder? Yeah, there you go. Check it out, y'all.
We sure did do it. What you think? What you think we do when we take y'all young men camping with us? We know them boys don't know how to swim. Yeah. You throw them in that water. We say, swim, boy, swim. Woo! Learn how to swim, boy. You can't do it. You can't do it, boy. Y'all ain't ever gonna learn how to swim. Yeah. Yeah, they did it. Them boys did it. This is a damn tradition for us. Yeah. This is a tradition. We take you boys out in the woods, and we throw you in the swamp. We throw you in the creek. We throw you in the springs and rivers. Yeah, we throw you in them oceans. Y'all can't do a damn thing. Y'all be in there splashing and screaming, I can't swim. I can't swim. Oh, hell no. But it ain't our fault. It ain't our fault you're fucking stupid. Grown man don't know how to swim. Yeah, what y'all think we do? Yeah, it's a big conspiracy. Every 6 months this skin tone, we all get together in our neighborhoods and we have like a little neighborhood meeting. And y'all ain't invited. We get together, we make plans, we talk about y'all, yeah, let's put this one in football, let's put this one in basketball. Yeah, let's encourage him to do that and this. Yeah. We bet on y'all. Man, we just play y'all like a damn game and y'all don't even know it. This is a tradition. Been going on since the beginning of time. And y'all still in the dark. And I thought I'd go ahead and tell you, but even me telling you, it's still just gonna be conspiracy and nobody's gonna be able to prove it. Yeah. This happens all around the nation. All of us are involved. Every single one of us.
So what I would like to say to that before I end this video is he got his just due. He got exactly what he had coming to him. We have no room for error. We have no room for people who are clowns, who are playing, and especially trying to play with our kids. Playing in our community, making it seem like, oh, it's a joke because, it gets serious and you start experiencing losses. We're not playing any games. We don't have any room for games. We have no room for error in matters and situations like this. Also, I just want to add before I leave, before I end this video, I'm so glad that, us as a community, as we always do, we rise up to get things done and to make things happen where appropriate, because, even though there is a need for certain leadership and certain representations of power, there's a lot of things. This is really common sense. I don't want to get too far into it. Even though, there is a need for certain things in our communities, I just want to say that however we're moving let's just keep in mind and let's be, excuse me, just a second. Let's keep in mind and let's be very mindful and be careful of, you know, some of the things, though we know the history and we know what's going on, we're tapped in, we're not slow, right? We also need to be mindful that there is another side to a lot of what we're seeing. A lot of stuff is very much in someone's plan and someone's agenda to create division, right? And like I said in one of the other videos, when my energy was real heavy and it was real high energy, right? It was a bit passionate and assertive, right? I said that, you know, a lot of us have families that are very colorful. I am one of those people, and I keep saying it, not because I necessarily feel as though I have something to prove. I'm just only trying to express that, you know, there's a lot of people who a lot of people who I love dearly that doesn't necessarily look like me, right? I have a very colorful family. And, you know, people ask me all the time, like, oh, they mistake me for Caribbean, Dominicana, obviously different tribes and countries in the motherland, but Latina and all kind of different things. People ask me all the time, what do you mix with? Or, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And I know. And then I get the Rihanna all the time too. I know. I have a very colorful family. My family is very mixed up. And yes, I too am very mixed myself. I don't really talk about that a lot because when it's time to put it on paper, I think there's only like 4 or 5 categories, right? And it's clear to see that I am an indigenous, aka Black or African American woman, which I'm very proud of, right? But my family is very, very, you know, very colorful. And I do know that there is a force and there is a something that want people to be divided, right? There is a force and I think that is a part of the bigger picture, but I think that there is definitely something that could be connected when it comes to these young folks. But then we all know, all of us that are very conscious and know what's going on, right? And that are, you know, evolving and progressing and elevating in levels of consciousness. We know, we're very aware that this is very much something that, you know, people want to create and they want to feed. They want to create division, right? So even in our awareness, not our fear, right? Not our being focused on or trying to stay in the energy of, you know, I'm just a part of this community and it's just us and we don't love anybody else. We're not like those who people say oppress us, or we're not like whoever this enemy. I'm not even going to play that game and pretend like we don't know who the enemies are. But what I'm saying is we're not like them. So let's not get caught up in a way where we're moving and acting like them. We do what we have to do to handle and take care of our business when necessary, right? And always being aware and doing the things to make sure, doing the things that are necessary to make sure that we always are prepared and aware, right? But we don't want to be in the energy and the likeness and the ways of this beast and of this enemy, right? Because there is a difference, and we know very well that it absolutely exists, right? So, you know, a lot of people are showing their true colors in this time. I never want people to get, you know, those who carry sacred rage, divine justice, and a sacred anger, if you will, confusing that with evil. Because, you know, as a being, even though we're spiritual beings first, we are very much in this incarnation. And we have the right to not only defend ourselves, but if you have any type of empathy or compassion, and if you have a soul, then when you see injustice and when you see evil, when you see wrong, no matter who it is, whether the person looks like you or not, you're going to feel a way. And I shouldn't even have to say that, but I'm going to say it because that is the difference between a divine being and a devil. There is a lot of people who are coming out of their face and they're coming out of their bodies and they're coming out of their mouths, and they are exposing themselves and they are showing us who they genuinely are. People try to make it seem like it's a sin and that it's bad to be angry in righteousness. Well, there are some of us who we were built and we were primed for certain things and we were trained for certain things. So some of us, we probably just can't help it, but we have to learn how to balance that. Like the Libra that I am, right? We have to learn to balance that because we can't be all the way one way or the next, but just learning to balance it, especially in a time where there are so many bad things that are happening and it is all on purpose. None of this is by coincidence. A wise woman, rest her beautiful soul, told me that there are no coincidences. So this video was about the individual by the name of Charleston White, who I, by my personal opinion, truly believe that he is trash, that he is actually absolutely dangerous to the community. I think that he owes Nolan Wells's mother and father and his family. I think that he owes them an apology, and I think that he owes an apology to everyone in our community who he used his platform to not only to exploit them, but also to try to demonize or put on his comic strip or try to use them to make himself look good, right? So it's really not advised. I would not advise us as a community to to put each other on trial and to be in battle publicly. But the reason why I wanted to give this certain type of attention to him is because I think that a lot of us should be made aware of the type of individual that Charleston White is. And when there's somebody in our community who is that much of a danger to not only the community, but the young folks and the children, I think that we should know that, right? Like I said, mistakes and excuses where one is showing that they're trying to change, then maybe we can give passes to that. And then maybe we can help to heal that and rectify and correct that. But this is a pattern. He's showing us who he is. So let me not say no more. I hope you guys have a beautiful Monday. I hope that the rest of your evening is as beautiful as mine will be. I hope that you guys take this message and you take heed to the message, and not only with the Charleston White, but even with everybody else. And even, what am I trying to say? I am not, excused from correction or reproach either. But there are people such as myself who are very aware and self-aware enough to know when, you have to do certain things and do the work, and then also how to come out on the other side. When people don't have the slightest thought to know when they're doing wrong, they can't correct their behavior, and if they can't see where they're wrong, they will never change. So again, I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful Monday evening. Take it easy, be well, much peace, blessings, love, and ashe.